It happened about 10 years ago, back when Halloween still felt like something magical. I was out trick-or-treating with my two close friends. I'll call them Alex and Ben to keep things private. It was the first time we were allowed to go out on our own without any adults tagging along. In the past, Alex's parents would always follow behind us, which made things kind of awkward and way less fun. So this year we were thrilled to finally do it on our own. For costumes, I went as a creepy clown, complete with fake blood and messy makeup. Ben dressed up as a scarecrow with a straw hat, and Alex threw on a white sheet and a pumpkin mask. I guess his idea was to be some sort of ghost pumpkin thing, but honestly, I had no clue what he was going for. Either way, it didn't matter. We were just excited to be out there. We started a little later than usual, around 5 p.m., but in our town, trick-or-treating went until 9, so it wasn't a big deal. The first hour or two was great, just the three of us, laughing, running from door to door and filling our bags with candy. The streets were packed with other kids in costumes, and the whole neighborhood was glowing orange from all the Halloween lights. But sometime around 7:30, things started to feel off. We noticed two guys walking across the street from us who seemed to have been near us for a while. At first we thought it was just coincidence, but after turning down several random streets, they always seemed to appear again, either behind us or across the road. It was strange, and the more we noticed it, the more it bothered us. They were wearing costumes too, though I couldn't tell exactly what they were. They were definitely older, maybe high schoolers or even adults, and both were taller than us. They would walk up to houses like any other trick-or-treaters, so it was hard to tell if they were really following us or not. But something about their movements felt deliberate, like they were keeping just enough distance to not get caught staring. We decided to test it. We took several quick turns, even doubling back down a few streets to see what they'd do. Every time we turned, they did too. It was enough to make us all nervous. That's when Alex suggested we take a shortcut through the woods to lose them. Ben and I weren't too sure. The woods weren't exactly a place people went at night. But there was a narrow trail that cut through to another neighborhood, so it wasn't totally unfamiliar. Eventually we agreed. We figured if those guys were actually following us, they'd probably stick to the streets, not chase us into the dark. So we ran toward the trail and disappeared under the trees. The deeper we went, the darker it got. There weren't any streetlights, and the only light we had was from the faint glow of houses far behind us. None of us had phones back then. We were just three kids with candy bags and dying flashlights. The path was covered with dry leaves that crunched under every step, and the silence in the woods was almost heavy. We slowed down for a minute, trying to listen, trying to figure out if we'd actually lost them. That's when we heard it. Footsteps behind us, slow, heavy and steady. They were crunching on the same gravel path we were walking on, maybe 30 feet back. We froze. None of us said a word. The sound stopped too, like whoever it was knew we had noticed them. Then, out of the shadows, we saw two dark figures at the edge of the path. That was all it took. We bolted. Branches whipped against our faces as we ran blindly through the trees. I could hear Ben panting behind me and Alex yelling for us to keep going. In the chaos, Ben glanced back and later swore he saw those two men chasing after us. Whether they were trying to scare us or actually meant to hurt us, I still don't know, but at that moment it felt real, terrifyingly real. We kept running until we had no idea where we were anymore. The woods weren't huge, but everything looked the same in the dark. Every time we slowed down to catch our breath, within seconds, we'd hear footsteps again, closer than before. The sound of dry leaves cracking under boots, moving fast. It was like they were playing with us, letting us think we were getting away before chasing again. It went on like that for what felt like forever, probably half an hour, until we finally saw a dim light ahead. We stumbled out of the woods and onto a street we didn't recognize. Our hearts were racing, our costumes were torn, and our candy bags were mostly gone. We just stood there for a minute, trying to get our bearings. We guessed which way to go, and by some luck, ended up near Ben's neighborhood. Once we realized where we were, we sprinted the rest of the way to his house and locked ourselves inside. We turned off all the lights and just sat there in his living room, peeking through the curtains every few minutes. We didn't see anyone, but none of us could relax. Alex's parents came to pick him up around 10, and I ended up staying the night at Ben's place. We didn't tell anyone what had happened, partly because we didn't think anyone would believe us, and partly because we didn't want to get in trouble for going into the woods. But just when we thought it was all over, something else happened. Sometime between 2 and 3 in the morning, both of us woke up to the sound of footsteps on the driveway. It wasn't random. It sounded like 2 sets of feet walking slowly up toward the house. Ben's bedroom was on the first floor, right next to the front window, so we could hear it clearly. We both froze, barely breathing, waiting to see if someone would knock or try the door. After a few seconds, the sound stopped. We gathered enough courage to peek through the blinds, but the driveway was empty. The street was completely still. No one there. We tried to convince ourselves it was just an animal or maybe our imagination, but it was too real. Both of us had heard it, and both of us woke up at the same time. We stayed awake for hours after that, just listening, but nothing else happened. The next morning, everything seemed normal again. The sun was out, and it almost felt like the whole thing had been some weird nightmare. But every Halloween after that, even years later, I'd still get that uneasy feeling whenever I walked outside at night, that cold, crawling sense that someone might be following me again, just waiting for me to look back.